So it's the calm before the storm. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if we got done by 6 goals tonight. I really hope I'm wrong, and this is yet another example of me not knowing ball. But I'll bring you all of Thomas Frank's pre-match thoughts, as well as my own, and hopefully a sprinkle of positivity in today's daily Tottenham news. Of course, it's the Paris Saint-Germain away game tonight, the European champions. So that's what I'll be delving into. But before I do, if you want to join me for that game in a watch-along tonight, come to BigUp. It's a different platform. Details of how to join my community there are in the description box below. And if you join, you can get involved in the predictions game there, which gives you a chance of not only winning money based on your predictions for tonight's game, but also enters you into a prize draw where you could win $25,000. That's $25,000. So do come and join my community and play that predictions game. It's really fun. Also, as you can see from the screen, I have my sponsor, okjersey.com. They sell the best current and retro jerseys around at great prices, including this Spurs away shirt that I'm wearing today. Scan the QR code on the left of the screen. And if you're going to buy a shirt, use the code BARN. That's BARN, short for Barnaby. And it'll give you 8% off when you're in the checkout. All right, let's go. Like I said, I want to sprinkle some positivity around today's show because I really am in full fear of tonight's game. But Son Heung-Min, our beloved captain, our pride and joy, is going to be invited to attend a Spurs match apparently in December, after he admitted that he wanted to come back to plan a proper farewell to the Spurs fans. The club apparently preparing pre-match and half-time events to honour the club legend and are expected to give him a gift. Let's hope it's a good one. Frankly, the gift should be, and let me know what you think in the comments, what gift should we give Son Heung-Min? But for me, we should be naming a stand after him. We should be naming a stand after Sonny and after Harry Kane and after Bill Nicholson and maybe one other. Danny Blanchflower, perhaps. Glenn Hoddle, perhaps. Or maybe his opportunity for that was slightly soured by what he said when he was the manager of England. But let me know, who do you think should get gifts out of the Spurs legends and what should they be? Let me know in the comments, something positive to come out of what could end up being a difficult day today. Some more positive news. Spurs looking to extend Luka Vuckovic's contract, even though he's not played a competitive game for the club. I don't think he came on in that Super Cup final, did he? But he's played a few friendlies, but he's on loan at Hamburg, ripping it up in Germany. He was recently put in the Who Scored team of the season in the top 5 European leagues so far, even though he's just on loan at Hamburg and he's 18 years old. That's how good he is. Apparently, he's attracted interest from Borussia Dortmund so far, but Don Fabio Paratici, Johan Lang and Vinay Venkatesham keen to tie him down to an even longer-term deal on better wages. Spurs, with Vuckovic, doing what, unfortunately, them lot down the road did with William Saliba, being very smart, getting him to play top-level games. And then when he comes in, he should be absolutely ready for the Premier League. He looks like a proper player. So like I said, a couple of bits of positivity to start with. Let's get into Thomas Frank's pre-match press conference before tonight's PSG game. He said, it's a nice challenge that we're 100% up for. I'm convinced that we'll bounce back with a good performance. Are you convinced, Thomas? I'm not convinced because I think he's going to play 3 at the back again. And I don't think PSG are going to play nearly as badly as they did in the Super Cup, where they hadn't even had a full week of training. They'd been off for a month after the World Club Cup. So any of you hoping that we're going to hit PSG in a similar level, we will not. Thomas Frank also talked about watching the North London derby back since the game. He said, I did that. It was a tough watch. It was not a good performance. Understatement, Thomas. It's been 2 good days since with talks and meetings, mainly about us, how we improve and how we go forward. In football, there are setbacks, but it's how you react. Now, listen, I'm going to put out the prayer emoji here. There's nothing I would want more than for Tottenham to put in an amazing performance under the least likeliest of circumstances tonight against the European champions, against a team who could just knock it all around us. I mean, if you're looking for a small positive, we should get a bit more time on the ball than we did against Arsenal, but it's not like Spurs tried to do anything on the ball when we did. It was just that 10, 15-minute spell in the second half where we looked decent, but then Thomas Frank made substitutes that wiped out all of that. So I'm not very positive about it at all. Thomas Frank talked about his frustration and again mentioned not winning enough duels, which is all he's banged on about since the Arsenal game. He said we were not aggressive enough. We didn't win enough of these duels. We were not aggressive enough. We were not going forward enough and playing forward enough. And if you play 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 7-9-13, it doesn't matter if you're not doing that. I'm not in doubt of that. So he's kind of blaming the players there, saying they didn't get their foot on the ball enough. But they didn't have enough players in midfield to do that. He lined up with just the wrecking balls of Polina and Bentancur, and Arsenal played with basically, sometimes as many as 6 midfielders because of the way they played with a false 9. So Thomas Frank has to realise that that's going to happen. So I blame him. I'm not going to throw the players under the bus for that. He also then said performances can always be a bit up and down. In a 60-game season, listen to this. I thought this was a bit odd. In a 60-game season, there will be 10 to 12 perfect games, 30 or so in the middle, and then the rest below that. You can be defeated like we were against Chelsea and Arsenal, but the others were still competitive. We'll keep working at it. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? 12 perfect games? Well, we played probably 15 games at least under him now. And have there been any perfect games? I wouldn't say so. I can't think of any perfect games. If he's maybe Man City away, he's hoping for, and maybe 75 minutes against PSG in the Super Cup. Was it perfect? No, perfect being a Tottenham manager is to dare, is to do, getting on the front foot, playing football, playing through the lines, getting triangles around the ball, 1- and 2-touch stuff, little round the corner balls, holding the ball up in the final third. There's been none of that. We need to see more of that. I just don't know if I agree with him there. But listen, if he's determined that we're going to bounce back tonight from the performance against Arsenal, then we need to see it, and I hope he's right. Before I go on, a word from our sponsors. Get yourself to okjersey.com, where you can buy the best football shirts around, including this one I'm wearing now, and of course, the absolutely magnificent black Spurs away shirt. And as if that wasn't enough, if you go onto their website and like the look of one of the shirts there, choose your size, pick the Champions League badge for the sleeve as well if you're that way inclined, then go to checkout and type the code BARN into the coupon section. That's BARN as in short for Barnaby. And when you do, you'll get a whopping 8% off your purchase. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 8% means if you've spent, say, and let's face it, I'm being optimistic here, 100 quid, then you get £8 off, not to be sniffed at. Get yourself to okjersey.com to pick one up, or if you're too lazy to type in the website, just scan the QR code that's on the left of me throughout this video. Enjoy. And then in the press conference, Thomas Frank was asked about the big question, I think, about taking risks, about what Spurs do going forward. And he said this: I think we do take risks. We could take more. Do we take risks, Thomas Frank? I made a TikTok about this yesterday because I was so mad when I saw this statement that he made. What risks? We don't take any risks. Sure, when we were playing against Copenhagen, we kept the ball a bit and we knocked it around. But against everybody else, he's been so worried about the opposition that the players were almost like frozen in fear sometimes. And it winds me up. And I'm sorry, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm listening to all the podcasts around at the moment, the Spurs podcasts, and everyone is starting to turn a little bit. And I'm just like, Frank is running out of time, and he's got to, as far as I'm concerned, he is. If we go back to where Pochettino was when he was under fire before that Aston Villa game came in his first season, Thomas Frank is there. And I think what Thomas Frank needs to do here is he needs to invest in the youth. I think he has to play Gray, Bergvall. I think he needs to play Pat Matasar. And I think they are going to be far more malleable to his ideas. They'll be far more willing to put in shifts both ways. I'm not saying that Bentancur and Polina have played badly, far from it, but sometimes you need to take a risk on youth. And I think if Thomas Frank is going to keep his job as Spurs manager, he's going to have to put all of his hope in the youth, the way that Pochettino did when he suddenly started playing Mason. He suddenly started playing Townsend, Harry Kane, and they all started pushing together and he started getting results because they were willing to do what he was asking them to do. And if that still doesn't work, or if he continues to play the same kind of teams and they don't put the effort in, they're not willing to press the way he's asking to, Thomas Frank will lose his job in the next 2 months. I'm sure of it. The only reason, it would be sooner than that, I think, if Daniel Levy was still around. We just don't know what Vinay is going to be like. We don't know what the Lewis family are going to be like. But Frank is starting to lose the faith of the Spurs fans, I think. He said, hopefully it won't be a long time before we see his Spurs side being more adventurous. Well, you're in charge, pal. You're coaching them. on the training ground. So you're in charge. You, Justin Cochran, Matty Wells, you've got to start showing them on the training ground how to be more adventurous, what you want. Stop worrying about the opposition so much. And I know tonight's probably not a great example of it, but if they go out tonight and try and play some football in the Champions League, at the hardest place you can go, and they still lose 3-0, I don't think the Spurs fans will complain. Just try and play some football. Take it as a free hit. Get the youngsters in, knock it around, play some triangles. That's what I think. Frank was then asked, interestingly, if it's important Spurs stick with him and not make him the next manager to be quickly dismissed. And he said, very important. I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but he said part of taking this job is taking the challenge. Part of this job is dealing with setbacks. I'm 1,000% sure that is how to build. I know how to build a team and build a club. Part of it is how we learn from the bad spells. The first 4 months, I learned a lot about the team and the individual players. Well, now you have to start turning it around, Thomas. You do. Because the performances haven't been good enough. They just haven't. Some half-decent away performances, but none of them really turn the dial for me. They don't. And now he needs to start getting the players on the ball a little bit. The only bit of team news is that Brennan Johnson is suspended from this after his sending off against Copenhagen. Everyone else who is available for Arsenal is available today. PSG's manager Luis Enrique kind of very kindly said Tottenham have had a great start to the season. They're a strong side, but he also insisted that the match tomorrow, which isn't tomorrow, but when he did the press conference, it was tomorrow, will be more of a game, more different than the Super Cup. He said that was the first game of the season. Wednesday's game will be different. We're more ready to be a dominant team and to win the match. Our goal is the same in every match, to be dominant. And they will be dominant, but can we just not sit on our own 6-yard box and be brave on the ball and move them around a little bit sometimes? That's all we're looking for. My predicted team for tonight. And to be honest, I don't really know because, like I said, I think he's going to go 3 at the back, but I've decided on a 4-3-3. Vicario, Porro, I think he'll bring Spence in on the left because he'll want the balance of Udogie for Fulham at the weekend. Then Van der Ven and Romero. Bentancur and Polina, I think he'll probably play with Sarr. And then Kudus, Simons on the left, and Randall, Kolo Muani. And my prediction is a 4-1 defeat, I'm afraid. I hope I'm wrong. I'd do anything to be wrong. Please do come and join me for the watch along tonight. It starts at 5 to 8 on BigUp, which is a different platform. If you haven't joined my community on BigUp, please do. Details of how are in the description box below. And if you join, you can play the predictions game, which is really fun. You just have to predict 6 things that are going to happen in the match, and you can win money from that. And then also, if you play that game, you'll be entered into a $25,000 prize draw. Somebody has to win it. So come and join my community on BigUp, and also try and enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays before tonight's inevitably difficult game. Come on, you Spurs. Get yourself to okjersey.com, where you can buy the best football shirts around, including this one I'm wearing now, and of course the absolutely magnificent black Spurs away shirt. And as if that wasn't enough, if you go onto their website and like the look of one of the shirts there, choose your size, pick the Champions League badge for the sleeve as well if you're that way inclined, then go to checkout and type the code BARN into the coupon section. That's BARN as in short for Barnaby. And when you do, you'll get a whopping 8% off your purchase. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 8% means if you've spent, say, and let's face it, I'm being optimistic here, 100 quid, then you get £8 off, not to be sniffed at. Get yourself to okjersey.com to pick one up, or if you're too lazy to type in the website, just scan the QR code that's on the left of me throughout this video.